Because you are someone they have never met before. Someone who turns their own game against them, making them reevaluate everything they believed they knew about their line of work. Your name has become a whispered warning in the underworld of tracking and surveillance. Not because you are dangerous. They come ready, with equipment ready and notes in hand. They have previously monitored others. It should not be this way, yet it is. Something changes the instant they target you, even before they start working. The feeling of being watched, even if no one is present, a prickle on the back of their neck, and an odd silence in the air are all subtle at first. They first disregard it. They tell themselves it's paranoia, a byproduct of spending so much time working in the background. So they go onward. They check places, ask around, and attempt to put you in a pattern, something predictable and reasonable. The disintegration starts at that point. What should be straightforward becomes complex. What ought to be clear becomes hazy. They hear your name, but it has meaning. Each word conveys an implicit caution. They follow you around, but the trail turns and twists and doesn't take them anywhere. They exert more force before abruptly ceasing. Not because they discovered what they sought, not because they were successful, but because they were halted by something. A force that cannot be seen or denied presses into their thoughts, into their chest, into their very being. It's not a fear. It's not a panic. It's recognition, something more profound. A comprehension that is beyond reason, an insight they are unable to articulate. When they return to the person who sent them, they all say the same thing: leave it alone. They turn away, lower their tools, and shut their notebooks. They saw something they weren't supposed to see, not because they were afraid. They have the greatest cutting-edge technologies available, including behavioral analysis, prediction algorithms, and infrared scanning. They have previously followed persons who don't want to be found, ghosts in the system. They've always been successful. Then everything breaks down when they meet you. Not everything occurs at once. Their trackers first identify areas that don't make sense, and their software lags. But you weren't here. They are unable to verify your presence, but they can see your shadow. They rerun the data. There are no mistakes, no rational explanations for failure, nothing. They follow their instincts, which tell them to try harder. They broaden the search, gather video from all perspectives, examine your movements, and seek for trends. However, no pattern can be found. You don't act as though you're trying to avoid them. You don't vanish as a runner does. You just don't exist for them. It becomes worse as they try to approach closer. Their techniques don't work on you. Not that they can't see you. Like attempting to use a matchstick to chart the ocean. Like attempting to follow the smoke from a flame. They don't comprehend as much as they push. Years of experience have sharpened their instincts, which begin to turn against them. They experience an indefinable force field and an unseen wall. They reject you. Their instruments don't break down. It's as though the cosmos itself forbids measurement, tracking, or capture. Even if they don't comprehend it, they are confident that they weren't supposed to discover you. It grows stronger the longer they observe you. Their thoughts wander, and their hands become shaky. They lose sight of the original reason for their search. They refocus and shrug it off, but it recurs. You take a deep breath, glance at your phone, or even move around a room, and yet it seems like the cosmos reacts. Their chest feels heavy, but they don't know why. They hear a whisper, a warning, a presence, not with their ears, but in their minds. They have no idea what it is. They are aware that they are being observed, even if they came here to watch you. There's no logic behind it. They sense it, even if it defies logic. Your presence distorts the world around you. They make an effort to obtain information, but it eludes them. They make an effort to keep their distance, but something draws them near. It's not danger or terror. Rather, it's realization. All of a sudden, they are no longer the hunter, the observer, or the tracker. They are the witnesses, and what they just seen was not intended for them to see. Comment: I am the thing they are looking for. Every tracker, hunter, and seeker will return, but they will be different if they stop at the border of your existence, unable to continue. They were assigned to follow you, collect data, and deconstruct your behavior, habits, and presence into something manageable and comprehensible. However, they currently need an explanation. They hardly speak. They sat in front of their bosses, looking at an empty notebook and a blank screen. The information they were meant to gather is no longer there. They were expected to prepare reports, but they had no purpose. What are they saying? How would you describe a fundamental meeting that wasn't physical? How would you describe the instant that reality itself took on a new form? Every statement seems incorrect, despite their best efforts. The weight of their experiences causes every attempt at reason to fail. They became part of the tale, even though they were meant to chronicle you. Their reports seem more like confessions than intelligence briefings. I don't know what happened. Something was there. I can't explain it, but they aren't normal. No, not normal. Something else. Some of them completely give up writing. Some people abruptly quit their employment. Some never even come back. Because monitoring you was a message, not just a duty. And it was clearly accepted by them. Your presence rewrites people, not simply deters threats. They enter with the assumption that they are detectives. They realize they were never supposed to become involved as they leave. And now, they know it, not just believe it. They anticipate going unseen. They anticipate being in charge. However, you alter the equation. The earth underneath them vanishes more and more as they dig deeper. They first refer to it as paranoia. But you are not unknown, and paranoia is the fear of the unknown. There is no denying you. They believe that they are researching you. They are unaware that they are being observed. Their techniques, no use. Their strategies, no use. Running is not necessary. There's no reason to conceal. You are above their comprehension and beyond their grasp. Nevertheless, they sense you. As a force, not as a presence. It gets evident the farther they go. Watching you was never the point of this. This was about the results of their attempts. Because, why are you still untouched, was the true inquiry. Not, what are you doing? And they are the ones watching over their shoulders by the time they figure out the solution. It is them who are attempting to vanish. Because you don't just avoid being pursued. The hunts become the hunted because of you. They believe they're taking the initiative, that they made the choice to follow you, and that their timing, plan, and approach are all well thought out. They are unaware that you were previously acquainted before they obtained intelligence. Before they stepped foot on it, you had already taken it apart. Before they even spoke your name, you had already closed all the roads. The communication had already been cut off by you. You don't just respond, you expect. Something changes the instant the idea crosses their mind. Before the plan is put into action. Before the first command is issued. Their plans abruptly go apart. Their strategies fall flat before they start. Their whole strategy becomes outdated. And they have no idea why. How are they going to combat what they don't comprehend? How can they get ready for an undetectable threat? You're not just in front of them. You are functioning at a level they are unable to understand. This is not a gut feeling. It's not luck. This is accuracy. You see their movements before they happen, so you don't have to wait for them. They never stood a chance of winning that game. They plan. You've already witnessed the result. They get ready. You've already shut the door. They attempt again, but their objective is thwarted before they can even get started. Not because you refused, not because you fought back, but because you never had to. They don't know how you maintain your lead and how every effort to follow you ends in failure. Avoidance alone isn't enough. It goes beyond simple avoidance. It's something far more sophisticated. You exit a quantum precognition region. You see before they look. You know before they make plans. And they've already lost before they've ever taken a step. Just stop there. You, indeed. It's okay if you don't feel this message. It's not for everyone. Proceed. But you'll know this is for you if you sensed it in your bones. Those who don't belong. Those who are able to look behind the curtain. They were instructed to be quiet, to settle down, to comply. But they were never able to do so. Ordinary things don't interest them. They are not here to obey the laws of others. They are the tempest that shatters illusions and the light in the dark. Untouchable, unstoppable, and unshakable. They are traveling their own route by themselves if necessary, while the rest of the world is busy going around in circles. They do it because it's who they are, not for the praise or acceptance. To those who take something that was intended to ruin them and turn it into something that is magnificent. Those who possess knowledge that can only be acquired, not taught. Perhaps it's time to locate your folks if this speaks to you. They believe they can follow you and that everything will go according to plan, but something keeps getting in the way. At the worst conceivable time, their equipment fails, their communications falter, and their technology malfunctions. They attempt again after rerouting, but they encounter yet another obstacle, an unexpected obstacle, a misunderstanding, or a financial problem that didn't exist yesterday. Every effort to go forward fails. It's no accident. It's not opposition. Intervention is what it is. Not only are you protected, but something invisible and unfathomable is keeping you safe. They're not sure what to call it. Energy, fate, or some invisible force that is changing their results. They are unaware that it is exact rather than abstract. The fundamental foundation of their plan starts to fall apart the moment they lay eyes on you and believe they have a plan. Ignoring the indications, they attempt to push past it and go onward. However, the doors crash more forcefully the harder they push. They begin to be questioned by those they trust. They start to have doubts. Unable to explain why, some may turn away entirely. How about you? You take no action. You don't defend yourself. You don't have to, because the outcome has already been determined by the forces surrounding you. It's already over by the time they comprehend what's going on and begin to wonder about the impossibility of the failures that are stacked against them. They would never make it to you. They had no intention of doing so. You don't run. You don't conceal anything. You don't have to. They attempt to find you in the hopes of apprehending you and putting you in a logical system. However, you are not a part of their system. You are both visible and invisible, everywhere and nowhere to them. They anticipate a chase, but since they are unable to describe what they are after, there is none. They search for you, go over documents, and examine movement, but your presence is fleeting. You appear in the records 1 minute, and then you disappear. They're certain they have you 1 second, and then you're gone like smoke. They believe they have lost you. They are unaware that they never had you in the first place, because you override them rather than simply avoid them. You have a flowing energy that moves across different planes of experience. You are a force, a light, and an indisputable presence to those who are supposed to perceive you. However, you disappear to those who try to map you, track you, or make you into something little and quantifiable. They are betrayed by their own sight. They are rejected by their own systems. They keep watching the video, believing they saw you and that you were there. However, nothing exists. It's not magic. It's not dishonesty. It's the truth. Considering that you are not a target. On a map, you are not a fixed point. Unreachable, untraceable, and unstoppable, you are a contradiction. They will never be able to see what was never meant for them, no matter how hard they try. They believe they can observe you. They believe they can research you. They believe you will understand their aim. You don't block them, though. You don't challenge their quiet. You don't dodge their gaze. You reroute it instead. Something changes the instant they focus on you. Their minds are disorganized. Their intentions are unclear. Their motivation for following you starts to shift. It takes time. They first think they are in charge. They make notes, do analyses, and try to create a profile of you. However, they get more lost the further they go. Because for them, every attempt to encroach on your world is an experience. They mirror themselves in every notion they have about you. Why are they doing this? Why does this feel different? Why does their mission no longer make sense? Is one of the questions that arises from every strategy they develop. They make an effort to persevere in order to restore their attention and adhere to the assigned goal. However, something within of them shifts. Their intentions disintegrate. The need to comprehend you becomes the urge to spy on you. The want to manipulate you evolves into a yearning to examine oneself. They believe they are here to find out the truth about you. They are unaware that you made theirs public. Considering that you are not being watched, you are a reflection. Additionally, the individual who first began observing you has changed by the time they turn away. There was no need for you to fight them. They didn't need to be blocked. Because you were never impacted by the incursion, it turned into an illusion. They're not gonna quit. The one in charge of all of this, the one with the strings, the one who never stops pursuing you. They possess resources. They are powerful. They are in charge. They believe they do anyhow. They think it's possible to track everyone. That someone will deliver them an answer if they put enough money, personnel, and force into observing you. However, it always ends the same way regardless of how many they send or how much work they put in. They await reports, affirmations, and evidence. Instead, though, they receive either silence or, worse, bewilderment. The trackers return, one by one, neither triumphant nor successful. They sit down to explain, shaken, but they are unable to speak. Despite their best efforts, their descriptions of the events are contradictory. We lost track of them. They were there, and then they weren't. I don't know how to explain it, but we couldn't touch them. It's bigger than us. And the person who sent them is enraged by that response, that reality, since they won't accept it. They don't accept that you are out of their grasp. They thus send more. The resources are doubled. They alter their strategy. Nevertheless, the same outcome is always the same: nothing. They believe they are dealing with a false impression. All they believe they need is a better team. They fail to see that strategy isn't the issue here. It concerns you. They aren't being avoided. They are not being resisted by you. They can't control you. They will never be able to respond. They will never have a coherent report. They also fail more often the more they attempt. Because no amount of money or power can ever make you a member of their system. They eventually give up trying, not due to their success. Not because you've been discovered, but because it loses all purpose to even consider monitoring you. You transcend their understanding, their systems, and themselves. You are more than simply a person, yet they create tools to locate individuals. You are powerful. They develop techniques to record movement, but transcending is more than simply moving. You cannot be measured by data. You cannot be predicted by any algorithm. You cannot be mapped by a blueprint, because the framework does not include you. You're not hiding. You're not running. You just can't be touched. They don't believe it at first. All they needed was more time, more money, and more sophisticated equipment. They convinced themselves. However, nothing was effective, for you are not something to be sought for. You are something that people will notice. and only people who are supposed to see you will. You are a power they cannot identify, a whisper, a myth to them. You are an enigma to the world, present and absent, everywhere and nowhere. What does not exist in their realm is impossible for them to trace. They are unable to track what travels across worlds. Furthermore, they are unable to constrain what cannot be contained. You are in charge, unbound, unfazed. You were never intended to be discovered, not because you struggle to remain concealed. You travel the world unnoticed and untraceable, by purpose, not by accident. Professionals, hunters, trackers, the best. They employ them one by one. They are quiet, unrelenting, and ready to attack. However, they all come to an end. They all come back with quiet voices and empty eyes. Each time they repeat the same statement. I saw it, I felt it, I won't go back. No explanations, no details. Just be afraid. Let's roar, unchangeable. You don't run. You don't conceal anything. They can't touch you, though. Unable to get through to you, they are stopped by something. Something that's invisible, something they refuse to explain. Why do they continue to try? Why do they continue to send them? Since you are unique, the others are not like you, no one is like you, and they must understand why. However, they are unable to, they won't, because whatever is in you and what surrounds you will not allow them to possess you. Did you feel it? That change, that tug? They can't cross that invisible border. Cross. Share your knowledge with everyone. Share your observations with everyone. Or don't. But they will continue to arrive, and they will continue to fail. Because they can't locate you. Not for them to comprehend. They cannot claim it. Leave a comment below. Tell your tale or don't tell it. But be aware that they are observing.